So I know that we are all grown adults here, but for once, I am encouraging you to behave the way that at least I behaved in high school when it comes to dating and relationships. So, welcome to Confidently Cherished. My name is Keisha Rice. I am a dating coach and hypnotherapist, and I help women learn how to break from unhealthy relationship patterns and create healthy, cherished relationships. So, I was thinking the other day about one of my high school boyfriends in particular, and the fact that when he and I were together, it's not like he was loaded in money because, like me, he was also a high school student, but he took his job at a fast food restaurant and he used that money to take me out to decent restaurants. We went to the movies, we went to fairs, wherever I wanted to go. He paid for gifts, he gave me flowers. Not only that, he consistently talked to me on the phone. He arranged dates. He didn't take my schedule for granted. And he was overall a good communicator. And our experience is not a unique experience because I remember when I was in high school, I had friends who had these same similar experiences with their boyfriends. And I am seeing so many videos lately on TikTok of other women talking about the same thing, not just high school, middle school, talking about the boys that they had crushes on back then, doing things like doing chores around the house to get money since they were too young to get a job, or just begging their parents for money to take a girl out on a date. There are women telling stories who they have sons who are now middle school and high school age who do the same thing, ask around in the family for money to take a girl out on a date. And I'm telling you this because there's a debate also on TikTok about men taking women on walks, offering a walk, a free walk as a date. And if the standard set by boys between the ages of, say, 13 and 18 is to get together the money to take a girl out on a date, why would you expect less from a man who's in his 20s, 30s, 40s, even beyond, right? And here's the thing. We have gotten a little bit too comfortable as women with letting standards slide. And it's time to get back into the habit of upholding standards again. The thing is that when you are first meeting someone, you are not meeting that person. You are meeting their representative. For the first, say, 3 months of a relationship, a person is on their best behavior. And note I said a person because I'm not just talking about the man. You are too. You're on your best behavior. It's a good 3 months in before people start to let, you know, all the full range of their personality come to the forefront, right? So if at the very beginning, the best behavior that you're getting offered is a free walk, then what do you think that says for the quality of the relationship going forward, right? If this person can't be bothered to try to impress you, bothered to do the bare minimum on a first date, which is plan a real activity and execute it, because a walk is not just cheap, it's also uncreative. If they can't be bothered to do that on the first date, then what type of behavior do you think you can expect 6 months, a year down the road? Not only that, but just in general, all of these excuses for low effort dates or for avoiding making real connection, like not talking on the phone before a date because, oh, he's so much better in person. And that's why he doesn't want to talk on the phone. Look, by the time you have a first date, there should be no, we're going on this date to see if we have a vibe because you met on a dating app, so you exchanged some messages there, or you met in person at a networking event, or you were out. So you had a conversation there. You already saw if there was some chemistry or a vibe right then and there. After that, you progressed to exchanging phone numbers and there were text messages. So, ladies, on your end, you already know if the text messages were dry and uninteresting. It doesn't get that much better in person. Maybe a little, but not that much. And then, so you had the chance during the texting phase to see if there was a vibe there. If he's bad at texting, then get on the phone and have a conversation. Again, you have the phone conversation to see if there is chemistry there, if there's a vibe there. If he says he's so much better in person, thanks to technology, we have Zoom, we have FaceTime, we have Google Meet. There are so many ways that you can check for a vibe before either of you leave your house. There is no excuse, okay? If a man has all these excuses for why he doesn't like to talk or why he can't put effort into a date, it means that you're just an option and he doesn't care. Because best believe, if you were his dream girl, if you were someone that he really wanted to know and really wanted to impress, then he'd make the effort to impress you. And if you're not getting that treatment, then don't waste your time. So, also when it comes to these first date, you know, faux pas, another thing that you want to look out for is when a man does not answer questions. So, I had this conversation with a friend not too long ago, and she was saying that it wasn't fair that she would go on dates with men and ask questions like, do you have kids, for example? And he'd say things like, don't worry about that right now. And then later on, of course, because that non-answer was an answer. So of course, then later on, they've been dating for a while, and then he allows all the skeletons to come out of his closet. And she's like, it's not fair because then at that point, you're already hooked. Those who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. So if someone is being shady and not answering questions, that's all the answer you need. You don't need any other closure. First of all, closure is not real, or at least closure from other people isn't real. The only closure you need is the closure that you get from yourself, which is trusting your intuition and trusting your gut. Um, so you don't need that closure or those answers. And if someone is not giving you answers, a non-answer is an answer. Just like if you're dating someone and they're not committing to firm plans, if every date is a last minute and they can't commit to anything, say 2 weeks in advance, again, it's a non-answer. That's an answer. He doesn't care. If anything, you are an option for when his other options fall through. And you should take the hint and move on. My grandmother used to always say to me, don't ever let a man tell you more than once that he doesn't want you. And this brings me to another unfortunate video that I saw on TikTok recently. And it is a video of a wedding, and the groom is wearing a white and purple suit. And in their vows, because I guess they decided that it would be a brilliant idea to write their own vows, he says that he didn't really fall in love with the bride at first sight, and that when they first met, all he was interested in was having sex with her. But eventually he comes around, like he is the GD prize. Back to don't let a man tell you more than once that he doesn't want you. Because here's the thing, in the video, she is clearly embarrassed because he's like, oh yeah, I just wanted to hit it first, and that's all I cared about, and I didn't really like you, but I guess I grew to like you or whatever because we're getting married now. And everybody there is laughing like it is the funniest thing ever. And again, she is clearly hurt and she's clearly embarrassed. But by the time they get to this wedding, and I think in one of her videos, she mentioned that by the time they got married, they'd already been together for over 10 years, which another red flag there. Because someone who is committed to being with you will want to lock you down. They're not going to allow you to have the option for a decade or more to leave and go be with someone else who will marry you. But by the time they got to that point, I guarantee you it's not the first time he said something like that. And she has allowed it to go on for years and years and years just to be embarrassed at the altar. One of the things that you need to learn in relationships is the things that you tolerate in the beginning will become your downfall later. So you think that you'll put up with this behavior because eventually it'll get better and he'll learn to love you and you can convince him to love you and all of that. It's not going to happen. If someone isn't considerate, compassionate, and a gentleman at the very beginning of the relationship, they're not going to magically evolve into those things. You know, as women, I believe that our hoo-has are magic. I really do. You know, feminine energy, womb energy, our hoo-has energy, um, those are divine. They come from God, but they are not magical enough to make someone change when he doesn't want to change. And again, as women, we have to get over this idea of sunk cost fallacy that we put so much time and effort in the relationship that we don't want, this man to end up being with someone else and giving that woman everything that we wanted. Just because you spent years committing to making a mistake doesn't mean that you have to spend more years committing to that same mistake. At any given time, you can leave. So here's what you need to do instead. Before you get serious about putting yourself out there for dating and relationships, you need to set your boundaries, your standards, and your deal breakers. You need to know what those are. Then the second thing that you need to do, and this is a 6-step process, the second thing that you need to do is write those down. Write down your boundaries, write down your standards, write down your deal breakers in a relationship. When I'm working with my clients one-on-one, this is the first thing that I have them do because it's foundational. After that, step 3 is to refer back to that list often. Every time you meet a man, every time you go on dates, I need you to come home and look back at that list. Do you see any red flags? Do you see any yellow flags that you need to investigate further? But refer to that list, refer to it often, keep it someplace where you constantly see it. And then step 4 is to spend time on yourself. Spend time on your self development, on your growth, on your mindset, and on your self care. You know, this is one of the reasons why I will put links in the description. But my most recent video before this one is all about me using subliminals to keep my mindset healthy, to hone in on my self-love, to give myself those reminders. Because even now, as a coach, even now as a hypnotherapist myself, sometimes I have to remind myself of how worthy I am, of how much I'm loved, and how I deserve to be treated well in my marriage. So, you need these things to constantly improve your mindset and to keep it in shape. It's no different than exercising your body. You have to keep your mind in shape too with what you consume, which is why I use subliminals, because you can listen to them throughout the day, throughout the night, and you're getting positive messages and positive affirmations. And you also, need to work on your growth with things like reading books, listening to podcasts, journaling, writing out your feelings, working on developing your emotional intelligence, doing the inner work. I also have 2 journals. One is on self-sabotage and one is on healing after a breakup. I will link those as well. And working on your self-care, on doing the things that make you feel your most beautiful, your most healthy, your strongest. Self-care is not just bubble baths, although that can be part of it too, but it is also, keep holding yourself accountable, being committed to your growth. And again, it is doing the things that make you feel good. So that brings me to the last part, is that you never want to be in a position where you are playing hard to get. You want to be hard to get. You want to be the type of woman that doesn't accept last minute dates because you are genuinely busy. So people need to book time on your calendar. You want to be the type of person who enjoys your own company so much that the bar is high for someone to interrupt your company, for someone to come into your life. So if a man wants to get to know you and wants to spend time with you, you know that you enjoy having a good time all by yourself and all with your friends. So that means that he has to offer something too. And it has to be something that's above the bare minimum. And it most definitely, sure as hell, needs to be something better than a free walk. So let me know in the comments, what are you doing to increase your standards, What are you doing? What standards maybe did you have in the past? Like, I had it with my high school boyfriend that maybe you need to adopt again. And what are you doing to make yourself a woman who is hard to get, not one who's just plain hard to get? I will talk to you soon. Love you so much. Bye.